What's up everyone, it's Henrik, your foolish crypto friend. Is the THOR project over? Is it time to cut your losses and run? Well, in today's video, we're going to do a deep dive into the THOR project. The THOR project takes you back to the world of Asgard and makes us all feel like we're gods from the old Norse mythology, all while promising returns that only gods can provide, like most of these current crypto node projects do. But before we can look into that further, you need to listen to this guy.
As always, this isn't financial advice. I'm just another crypto fool on the internet, and following the methods in this video could lead to losses. In other words, do your own research and make your own decisions on what's best for you.
And now, on with the main show. If you invest in the THOR project and get yourself a node, you are promised amazing returns. The higher the investment, the higher the return, which of course makes complete sense. Here are the current payout levels. A tiny little Heimdall node will cost you 1.25 THOR, and it will pay you 0.08 THOR tokens per day, which means it in theory will take you 157 days to make your investment back. Now, they also have Freya nodes. Who is Freya? Well, she is none other than the goddess of love, beauty, sex, and war. And her name is actually pronounced Freya. How do I know this? Because I happen to have a real-world niece named Freya, and she's awesome. Hi, Freya. A Freya node will cost you 6.25 THOR, and it pays you back 0.05 THOR per day for an ROI of 130 days. There's also an actual THOR node for 12.5 THORs and a daily reward of 0.144 THOR with an ROI time of 87 days. And finally, there is the Big Daddy node, which of course is named after the biggest of the Norse gods, Odin. An Odin node will cost you 78.18 THOR tokens, and with a reward of 1.02 THORs per day, it'll pay for itself in 77 days. Now, if you have at least one of each of these nodes, you yourself can become a god, or at least go into god mode, which allows you to compound rewards across all of the node types. If you're not a god, you're stuck compounding into the same nodes only. But even if you are not a god, you can at least get to yield god-like powers right now by gently nudging the little like button and maybe even subscribing and turning the little bell notification icon on. Your actions could change how the YouTube algorithm picks up this channel, which has a huge bearing on the channel's future. There, do you feel powerful now? See? I told you, you are a god. But back to the old Asgardian gods. One THOR token currently costs right around $16, which means that in real world US dollar cost, you can become the lucky owner of a Heimdall node for 1.25 times $16, which would be $20. A Freya node will set you back $100, and a THOR node will currently set you back $200. And getting access to the God of Gods, the Odin node, will cost you the 78.18 THOR tokens, which is $1,250. Now, that's a pretty penny, but believe it or not, that's actually a fraction of what they used to cost. And the return numbers seem pretty darn good too, at least on the surface. If you were to spend $1,250 on an Odin node today, in theory, you would start earning $16.32 per day, which means that you'll have earned that $1,250 back in about 77 days. And if you instead were to compound your earnings, you could end up with a much higher payout over time. Now that's an investment I would get into any day, but things are of course never as they seem. First, the money you put into the investment, that's a sunk cost. You wave goodbye to those funds the second you hand them over to THOR. Bye-bye. See you, well, never. But that's not the bad part. That's pretty much how most of these crypto node projects work. The bad part is the part that makes people think they're about to become crypto millionaires. The returns, or rewards as they're typically called, aren't paid back to you in US dollars. They are paid back in THOR tokens, and that's an important distinction. As with most projects, there are calculators out there that will tell you what your earnings will look like in the future, depending on what choices you make in terms of compounding your rewards or having them paid out to you. Let's take a look at what the returns would look like if you were to invest in a THOR node today. We saw earlier that this would require an investment of $200. If you then started pulling money out immediately without doing any kind of compounding of your rewards, the project would pay you around $66 per month. Now, that's not Lambo money, but it's definitely not bad for a $200 investment. Now, if instead you hold off and you compound your rewards until you get a second THOR node, then of course you'll have to wait 87 days before you actually start getting paid. But at that point, you would get paid $138 per month instead. As they say, patience is a virtue. This calculator here will also show you your returns all the way up to 240 days of compounding, at which point you would get paid almost $700 a month. Cha-ching! Now imagine doing this with more than $200. Now are we ordering a Lambo? And then imagine what happens if Thor goes to the moon, or just happens to go back to its original high of $390. Now we are buying a mansion to go with our Lambo. Wait, what? We're not ordering a mansion? We're not even ordering a Lambo? Why is that? Well, remember how we talked about earlier that your rewards are paid out in THOR tokens and not in US dollars. Here is where that comes in. If the THOR token were to go to the moon, you would almost instantly become a gazillionaire. The problem is, that's just not happening. Let's take a look at the price chart for THOR. This is the full chart since their launch back in December of 21. And as you can see, the THOR token made it up to almost $400 a couple of days after the launch. And then the bottom fell out and it went all the way down to just around $16. Then they got another pump and went back to almost $230 at the end of January, which is right here. But since then, it has been a pretty ugly slide. The price went all the way down to $10 before another recent announcement brought it back up to where it is today. Now, I took the data from the last 2 months or so and plotted it against the trading volume. I filtered out the most recent days as I think the price bounce from the announcement is a very temporary thing. So as you can see here, both the price and the volume have been experiencing a steady decline, which is always a bad sign. I also added a logarithmic trend line, and even though we always should be careful about forecasting, the curve has an R-squared value of 0.95 and it's pointing only in one direction, which is obviously down. Now, if we zoom in and look at the price development for the last month instead, we can see that THOR went from $37.11 to around $16, which is equal to roughly a 57% drop. With that in mind, I put together a different, super simple calculator. If we factor in a 57% monthly drop going forward, here is what the price of the THOR token development will look like. By the time we reach January of next year, a THOR token will be worth about a penny. Now, let's see what the THOR calculator shows with that price instead. By the time you patiently waited to compound yourself up to 10 THOR nodes, you can look forward to a monthly payment of a full 43 cents. That's right, 43 cents per month. And that is why we aren't ordering the Lambo. But that's not even the worst part. Many node projects have predicted yield curves just like this. But people keep their hope and faith in the projects anyway. Maybe this one project will be the one that actually makes it big. And you can wait for that to happen. But while you wait, the THOR project has now decided that you need to pay them more for the privilege of them holding your money. Currently, you have to pay $20 per month for a THOR node. So now you're paying $200 up front plus 8 months of $20 node fees, which comes out to a total investment of $360 for the right to maybe get a 43 cents per month return. Now, the THOR project owners have come out and said that they will adjust node fees based on the profitability of the nodes. If that's the case, I think we should be looking at negative fees soon, but I wouldn't hold my breath for that one. The THOR project does have great plans for the future though. They have a Gods of Asgard P2E game coming, they have lots of investments in their treasury, and they have, well, I'm actually not sure what else they have, other than a horde of loyal followers on Discord, like most crypto node projects do. Now, if you put all that information together, that is why I think the THOR project sadly is over. I did pay my node fees this month, but I'm not sure if I'll continue to. It just doesn't seem like it's worth it anymore. Also, my Thor node didn't cost me $200. I started about 2 months ago, and it cost me $750 back then. So currently, I have about 8.4 Thor accumulated in rewards, which comes to right around $134 that I can cash out today if I wanted to. So as of today, my Thor node has cost me the initial $750 plus the $20 node fee, less the $134 in rewards, which comes out to be $596. And every month I hold on to the node, the total cost will go up, and the value of the rewards, well, as we've seen, they will most likely go down. And on top of that, Thor just introduced a new claim tax as well, so your actual payouts in the rewards, which aren't much to begin with, are going to be even less. And all that put together just doesn't scream a great investment to me. And apparently, I'm not alone in thinking this. The majority of Thor investors seem to have come to the same conclusion. A full 60% of the node owners have chosen not to pay their node fees this month, which essentially means they have given up on the project and are cutting their losses. And I can't say that I blame them. This, of course, is the end of this video, but if you would like to watch another really cool video about how the THOR project node fee implementation went down, which wasn't good, you should watch this video right here. And if you're tired of the THOR project and just want to watch another really cool crypto video, well, I have another one for you right here. Thank you for watching, and may the crypto odds be ever in your favor. Bye bye.